Good evening. There's a lot of great folks here. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being willing to be educated about what we're seeing this evening, the threats to the region. When it loads. There we go. My talk this evening is entitled The Effects of Weaponized Faith on Eastern Washington. And before I get into the pieces about weaponization of faith, what it looks like, I need to talk a little bit about how I got involved with the current, we'll call it the current Patriot movement. It starts off in 2008. I lost $60,000 overnight in retirement income. That fast. Chase bought Washington Mutual, my stock was tied up in there, and it was gone. I was frightened for my family, my economic future. I began researching what was wrong. I hopped on the internet. I couldn't understand what had happened to me. I found many conspiracy sites that led to fear and anger, and I read them, and I read them, and I embraced them, and I understood it. It fostered my anger. It got me madder and madder. Every time I read it, I felt like I was having something had been done to me. I was mad. I found common cause online with people who were saying the same things. They had been lost money. They had been affected by 2008. They had seen the financial impacts as well in their life. And then eventually I got introduced to the right people. So, what did I do? I wrote a book. I tried to instill my fear in others. The book is still out there. Don't buy it. It's terrible. Why is this all important? The use of fear is the primary motivator for the Christian Dominionist movement. It keeps the agenda moving forward. The more they keep you afraid, the more you want to keep pursuing things. These are some of the common things you hear them being afraid of. You hear these mentioned on radio here in the area. We see these things printed online. And yes, there are some real threats in some of these areas. But mostly, they want you, anyone who they deem a threat to the agenda is who you need to be afraid of. What is dominionism? I'll give you a moment to read through that. Dominionism theology, also known as dominionism, is a group of Christian political ideologies that seek to institute a nation governed by only Christians based on their personal understandings of biblical law. The extent of the rule and ways of achieving government authority are varied based on the group. For example, some, not all, the dominion theology can include a theonomy or a theocracy, but does not necessarily include Old Testament Mosaic law. There are groups like Bethel out of California. There's School of Supernatural that does believe in dominionism, but a different variation thereof. Fear and stress drive extremism. These are some screenshots of a conversation that I had with someone within the Shea organization. And at the particular time of these screenshots, I was under a tremendous amount of stress. Dealing with all the threats we were facing, all the things we were angry about, all the fights we would run to. We'd run here and we'd fight about this, and we'd run here and fight about that. There was always a level of stress that drove it. There's some pretty strong language in here. Pretty scary stuff. But I fully and 100% agree with this statement from the FBI. This came out of the Phoenix Field Office, published May 30, 2019. Conspiracy theories drive extremism because we read it, we ingest it, it becomes our reality. And the more we ingest and bring those things into our life, the more they become our realities. So here it is. Spokane, cameras, media. I'm sorry I got involved in this. I'm sorry I moved forward this agenda in this area. But tonight is a way of helping to make up for that, for bringing this education and awareness to you. Not everybody in this room will agree with me. I'll be called names, Judas. I've been told I need to be hung. I've had death threats.
So is Matt. So is Mr. Shea.
I get it. But when did things change for me? Right here in this room in 2016. This room has actually had multiple different impacts on me throughout different periods in my life. But what did I see? When President Trump was announced the winner, I saw the attitude in the room change. It was our turn now. Boy, it was time to get ours. The attitude for another human being was less than us. We did not care for others. The leftists were out to get us, the globalists. The attitude of deep division was either our way or the highway, and it was prevalent. It made a huge impact on me. Then I saw this, the weaponization of the Christian gospel. So, we moved into information releases. Why was the information released? Well, yes, I was part of the Shea organization. I was privy to things. I saw all sorts of documents. I was privy to meetings. The entire thing, though, I thought I was part of something that was going to eventually help the community, that we were going to be there and be prepared, that when something collapsed and fell apart, we were going to be there to pick up the pieces. But I didn't realize that dominionism was part of that. Folks, I'm here to tell you this particular document, this is not sermon notes. This is a selection from the biblical basis of war. This is a document authored by Representative Matt Shea. He's owned up to this document. It was passed out at a meeting on August 6th, 2016. And you can see in there, talking about killing people who don't agree with the way we believe. It's a battle plan. It is not sermon notes. There's another selection from this, talking about assassination and sabotage of leaders who are tyrants in the area. Folks, it's about rebuilding their own state. Now, to clarify, I do support a two-state system, but not like this. This is a selection from the Restoration, which is authored by Representative Shea and others in the leadership meeting. This document is available online. You can download it, you can read and study for yourself. I do encourage you to read and study for yourself. Think for yourself. Eastern Washington needed to know who's driving the agenda. They needed to understand what was going on. They needed to understand about dominionism and replacement theology. This is a new piece we're going to be bringing in, replacement theology. John's already talked to you a little bit about these. Around it resolves, the leaders, the individuals involved in it. Make some additional selections. These are available online for you to study at any time. This is an album jacket from Judas Advance, talking about how this particular group uses replacement theology to go in and say, we are the children of Israel here in the area, and that those who represent in the Middle East are actually imposters. Then we have this. Ann and Mary Bird, who we know to be the leaders of our community fellowship. This is a photo taken in 2016 at God and Country Days. These are representatives in the area who actively partner with them, who actively subscribe to the theology. Obviously, we have Representative Shea, Representative Harris Scott of Idaho, former Representative and current Councilwoman Michelle Fiore of Nevada. She's also the Mayor Pro Tem of Nevada. And we have Assemblywoman Shelley Shelton. I was there during this time. I saw the things they talked about. I saw the attitudes. Everything we're presenting you tonight is exactly where they're at. The finally last thing, I personally could not stand to have the gospel weaponized. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the gospel gets weaponized within the Christian dominionist agenda. We start out with the abuse of Scripture. John's already recapped this for you, so I'm not going to go into details because we're running just a little bit behind tonight. But we know this does not say man. We know the dominion mandate, nowhere on here does it say man. These are some additional selections. This is actually part of an application for Marlboro Community Fellowship that when you apply to live there, you have to fill out this document. And there are different pieces of it that talk about you're willing to give dominion over your life to the leadership of Marlboro. These are also available online. Well, we need to understand a little bit, what are they looking to hold dominion over? What does that mean when they talk about dominion? What's their ultimate achievement? Why are they trying to do what they're trying to do? There are 7 areas in dominionism that they are looking to accomplish control of. Now, as a man who believes in Christianity, sure, I would love to have some influence in these areas, but not control of. They want to take over the family, the business, media, church, education, and the arts. And as somebody who does believe in Christianity, I believe we need to have a strong influence in these areas. But it's never our choice to actually push our belief system on someone else. It's a personal choice that someone needs to make. Finally, we're missing an area here, aren't we? I broke it. Can I get an advance, please? Okay. All right. Next slide. There's this piece. And this is the piece that we've been talking about this evening. The dominion over government. That's the piece you'll hear about. You'll hear about in a little bit as the sheriff presents his pieces. But this is the major concern that I've seen as well. So again, we talk about, again, how this is weaponized. We see Genesis does not say man. That is not the dominion mandate. We know it says nowhere in there does it say man. But then we have this little piece. 2 Corinthians 3:17. This is the one that they love to quote all the time. And I pulled the NLT version of it. Sometimes I like to quote the King James version of it. But you hear this all the time. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom or liberty. They say this all the time. You hear Renee Halliday say this on her podcast. But the problem is that this is just a snippet of a bigger passage. And you need to back it up just a little bit to understand what's the context of this verse. So let's back it up a little bit. But the people's minds were hardened. And to this day, whenever the old covenant was being read, the same veil covers their minds, and they cannot understand the truth. This veil can only be removed by believing in Christ. Yet, even today, when they read Moses' writing, their hearts are covered with that veil. Well, whenever someone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. For the Lord is the Spirit. Whenever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So it's not talking about rights. It's talking about spiritual freedom, not earthly freedom. See, the thing we continue to look at is that they want an earthly kingdom. Whereas in Christianity, we need to focus on the next kingdom, the heavenly kingdom. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow, this thing could all end. And some of you believe like I do, and some of you don't. But tomorrow, this could all be done with. And we need to worry about what comes next. So again, they like to cherry pick pieces of the Bible, use snippets of passages instead of the whole agenda to drive an agenda. They will use it to drive earthly power and an earthly driven kingdom instead of focusing on the heavenly kingdoms. So what's the danger to the community? Well, the danger is a weaponized church and a weaponized faith. Now, before I go into this next piece, this is not an attack on Christians. This is simply laying out the facts that when we have this type of attitude, it actually causes a breakdown in the way we are able to communicate in our community. Let's start off with this one. Where did weaponized faith lead to? This young man has a very powerful story. He committed a heinous act. He did something that was terrible, but standing on the sidewalk doesn't allow him to tell his story for maximum impact. He could have a very positive impact on someone's life for Christ. But instead, we're yelling and screaming on the sidewalk, and it creates unproductive dialogues. Every time somebody sees this, they don't see the gospel. They see a Christian yelling and screaming and pointing and saying, "You're going to burn." This does nowhere did we see somebody in that clip walk across the street and say, "Tell me about this Jesus you serve." It's unproductive. Then we have this piece right here. This is a leader in the local area. He had reached out over Messenger and had sent this message to someone with this language in it. Someone who claims to be a leader in the faith in the area. I gotta tell you, that is disrespectful. It doesn't create a productive dialogue. All this leads to wrong perceptions of who Christians actually are. And I have this in here. This is a picture of Jesus and Zacchaeus, excuse me. when we as Christians, and I know not all of you believe that way, and that's okay, we truly believe we need to spend our time going to the people who are not like us, meeting, loving, getting to know. And right now, the perception of that here in the area is not that. That we are angry, that we're going to stand on the sidewalk and yell at you, that we time and time again are going to stand out front of places and try to get our way, instead of actually creating dialogues, speaking into each other's lives and saying, how can we get to know each other? We don't hate you. We don't want you to starve or be homeless. We have the same goals as you. And I'm going to just real quick tell a story. There's somebody in the audience today that I've got to know. She believes completely opposite that I do, but at the same time, we have similar goals. And we're able to find common ground and respect to be able to work to make a better Spokane that way. We don't want you to be dead because of what you believe. Faith is a choice. Faith is a choice. It's not something we need to force our values on. We want a better Spokane, just like you. We absolutely want a better Spokane, just like you. We want a united Spokane. This is my statement on this. Weaponized faith leads to division between people and communities and destroys opportunities for a better Spokane. We want a better Spokane, just like you. Okay, where I stand now. A lot of people have asked me this question. This is where I'm at. I still love Jesus. I still want people to know who he is, know that they are loved, know that there is an opportunity out there for you. I don't hate Rep. Shea. As much as people think, I don't hate him. If I got a text message from him tomorrow that said, you know what? Man, I've got a problem. I would be one of the first people lined up saying, man, let's get you some help, let's help you to be whole, and let's get you the counseling that you need. I don't hate him. I don't wish any harm on him. I'm pro-gun, pro-life, pro-conservative, fiscal conservative, but that doesn't mean me forcing my values on someone else. Finally, I want to build bridges between groups in Spokane like never before, and I think there are some of you in this audience that I've reached out to that are making the effort to build the bridges in the community. Finally, how do we fix this? We just don't vote in people who represent these values. We presented things to you this evening. We're asking you to study, to read, to understand, to make the positive choices that need to for a better Spokane. Meet with people who are different and hear their story. One of the most powerful questions I've ever asked someone is, when I meet them, they're different, I say, tell me your story. And I listen. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're to listen twice as much as we speak. You don't have to morally agree to have common respect. And that's the truth. You don't. You may not agree. We have folks here who represent the spectrum in terms of belief systems. But we don't have to morally agree to have common respect. Finally, we need to do this. We need to listen. We need to close our mouths and listen. We may not always agree, but if we do this, we're able to get to know each other better, speak truth into each other's lives, and we have conversations that maybe, just maybe, we can come back together as a community. Thank you for listening tonight. I know that some folks don't agree with me in this room, and that's okay.